Hello there and welcome. I am Matt Suess. I am a fine art photographer and workshop teacher based in Scottsdale, Arizona and Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I want to welcome you to this edition of Perfect Inspiration from On1 Software. In this edition, I'm going to show you how to remove a boring sky and replace it with a cloud background using Perfect Photo Suite 9. So let's get into the suite right now. And I'm in my Browse module. And new in the Browse module in version 9, they've added the ability to star and color tag photos. So I have, you can see here, I have a folder with a number of images here, but I do have the photos that we're going to work on. I have those color tagged already. So to find those real fast, I'm just going to turn on my filters panel, and I color coded those yellow. So I'll select the yellow from there, and there we are. Here are the photos that we're going to work with. And let's start with this one in the middle here. What I'm going to do is bring this into layers. I'm going to edit a copy of it with Photoshop support layers. I'm going to leave Smart Photo re-editable PSD checked in case I want to bring this into effects or enhance to do any modifications with it. With this new Smart Photo in version 9, it'll allow me to save all those changes that I'm doing in effects and enhance in black and white, and allow me to go back in there and make those modifications to the same changes that I had done earlier, including layer masks. So I'll leave that enabled and I'll hit OK and bring this into layers. Okay, so this was photographed up in Zion National Park, and on this particular day the lighting was great, but the sky was not working to my advantage. I got a crystal blue sky here with not a hint of clouds at all, and I want to add some clouds to this. Now, On1 does have some clouds built in to the software suite. If you go in on the extras over here under On1 Extras and Backgrounds and Skies, they have a number of skies for you to start doing your sky replacement with. I have a couple though. I'm going to use mine here, and I'm going to go into My Extras under Backgrounds. And I have two sets here, a Suess Cloud Set 1 and a Suess Cloud Set 2. These are a number of sky backgrounds that I photographed, and I have them for sale on my website, and I guess it's going to also be available in the On1 store too, so keep an eye out for that. These are cloud backgrounds that you can download after purchasing, and you can go into File, Manage Extras, and import them into Perfect Photo Suite so that you have them at your disposal whenever you need them. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is take a look and find a cloud pattern that I'm going to want to work with here. And let's see. Let's take a look at clouds number 19. I'm going to double click on that and add it as a layer. This will add that cloud background as a layer on top of my current layer. So I'm just going to flip those two layers around so that my Zion photo is on the top, my clouds are in the background. And now what I need to do is remove this blue sky so that we can see those clouds in the background. What I'm going to do first is use the Quick Mask brush, and I'm going to shrink my brush size a little bit. The shortcut for increasing and shrinking your brush size is the bracket keys on your keyboard. And then I'm just going to loosely paint in the blue area here where I want to remove. Now, Perfect Photo Suite is going to search for all that blue and erase a good portion of it. We can see that it missed some areas up here in the tree, and a little bit of missed a little bit of it around the mountain too. That is not going to be a problem. What I'm going to do is use the Perfect brush, or the masking brush, with the Perfect brush option enabled. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hover over, see that little dash in the center of my brush? That is going to select the color underneath on what I'm going to mask out. And if I hold on to the Command key or the Control key on Windows, Command key on the Mac, as I'm making that first click selection, it's going to select that blue that I picked right from that one spot. And now as I'm holding on to that key, I can paint anywhere in here, and all this is doing, this Perfect brush, is removing that shade of blue from behind the tree. We can see when I get down towards the bottom here, it's not removing that blue. That's a different color blue. So I'll just go down here and select from the bottom area and then start painting out the blue down below here. I'm also going to run this along the mountain, get rid of some of the blue out there. And now I'm going to zoom in a little bit and take a look at the mask. Looks like it was, let's see here, it looks like it did get everything in the middle here. Looks like one little area up here I'll need to get rid of. And let's see, let's go along this ridge line here. Now for the ridge line, I'm going to try and use the refine brush, and we'll size this down a little bit. I always like to have the color decontamination checked as well. It's going to warn me that I do have to simplify this though. The color decontamination does not work on a smart layer, so I'll have to simplify that. And now I'll just paint right along the ridge line there. And that did a perfect job of getting rid of that remaining blue sky along the ridge. We'll come along this ridge line here. Now I can also use the Chisel Tool along the edge of the mountain. That's a good tool to use too in these types of situations, but right now the refine brush seems to be handling everything perfectly for me. Let's take a look at this mask, and we can see the clouds already in the background. I got a pretty good idea that this mask is almost perfect. Let's go on to mask grayscale, and it looks like just a little bit over here and up in the upper corner that I have to still remove. So let's zoom back in, and I can turn my background off temporarily so I can see the remaining blue that's in this photo. And using my perfect brush again, we'll select this color with my command key and paint out the remaining blue. And I've got a little bit more down below here. And back in that corner. And just looking at the horizon line on my mountain, that looks pretty good. And we'll go back to fit. We'll turn on that bottom layer again. And there we go. We got a perfect layer mask now that is hiding that old blue sky and revealing the nice clouds below. Now I just need to reposition those clouds. So I'm going to select the cloud layer, and I'm going to select my transform tool. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And what this outside box is telling me is that my cloud layer is a lot larger file size than my Zion photo here, so I have some room where I can shrink this a little bit. And let's back out on that on the transform tool. There we go. And try and reposition it so that we have a nice background, and that looks pretty good. I'll hit apply, and let's fit this in here. And let's take a look at the before and after. Let me go back into browse and bring in that photo again as a new layer so we can see a before and after. And I'll just throw that on the top. There we go. So this was our layer, or our photo before with that boring blue sky, and here it is now with a nice enhanced sky with some clouds. I can actually even take this cloud layer and go into enhance. And because I selected the layer that had the clouds on it, I'm only affecting the cloud layer itself with any corrections I'm going to make now. And what I want to do is maybe increase the blacks a little bit to give a little bit more pop to the sky. Maybe increase the contrast just a hair. And let's take a look at the vibrance. And the reason why I'm doing this is to try and blend this sky in a little bit better. The foreground, my mountain, had some really nice pop to it, but the clouds themselves were just a little bit flat when brought into the background. And I'll increase the detail a little too. There we go. Let's take a look at the before and after. Just some nice subtle enhancements to it to make this make the sky blend in a little bit better with my foreground. I'll hit apply. This will bring it back into layers, and now I have my new cloud layer that has the enhancements from Perfect Enhance. I can save this photo, and I'm all set with that one. And what we'll do now is go into another photo and do another background. Let's take this other photo here, and we'll go into layers, edit a copy, same thing as before. There we go, good. And I'm just going to duplicate this layer right now, so in case we do a before and after, I don't have to go back in and grab that. Alright, let's take a look at the clouds again, and find a good cloud pattern for this background here. And I think I'm going to use clouds number 7 here. Double click on that, add it as a layer. And we'll throw one of these photos of the mountain there, get that back on top so my cloud layer is hidden. I really like to have the clouds in place when I'm doing the masking, because when I start masking and start replacing part of the sky, I can see the clouds in the background, and that really helps, gives me a visual as to how the mask is going. Okay, so again, we'll take the quick mask tool, and we'll just paint in the sky area here very loosely, and then let Perfect Photo Suite do its magic here. Okay, so I have just a little bit of cleanup to do now, still a little bit of white right along that horizon edge. So let's zoom in, and let's see, let's try the, I think we'll try the refine brush again, and we'll run it right up along the horizon here. That's good. That shaved down a little bit of the white. I still see a little bit of an edge. I'm going to come back to that in a moment with the chisel tool. But let's clean up this other area here. And occasionally you may have to use that refine brush a couple times on your photo in the specific location that you're trying to mask out. The refine brush is supposed to be getting smarter each time each time you use it, especially when you're using it in conjunction with the perfect mask. So I'm going to turn my color decontamination on again. And there we go. Okay, that's looking good up on top there. Actually, let me undo that one and get that right along the edge. There we go. Okay, one last section over here. Okay, now I see that it did spill over just a little bit. I'm going to have to fix that. If we look at my mask in the grayscale, white is where it wasn't affected, black is where it was purely affected and cut out, and any shades of gray, that means that it's a partial mask in there, and so I can see some blue shining through on my mountain. So what I'll do is go use the masking brush, and instead of paint out, I'll paint in, lower my brush size, and then I'll just paint back in that area there where it did on the mask. You can also do this in the mask grayscale too, so you can really see which areas you need to paint back in. And see, there's a couple spots right in this area up here. And you don't have to be exact. It's really something that if you see it in the final photo, and I was noticing that in that one little section in the right that we had just fixed. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is use the chisel tool, and I'm going to get rid of this little hairline white edge that we have along this rim here. So what I'm going to do is adjust my amount to 3, and then I'm going to just start painting right along the edge here. And actually it looks like 3 is a little too intense. Let's go down to, let's try it at 1. And just going to get just this edging right here. There we go. You can see how that is perfectly getting rid of the white right along the edge. And got a little bit up here. Now you can reapply it. Every time you reapply this tool, it keeps on shaving off just a little bit more and a little bit more. Okay, good. Don't see any edging up here except for this corner here. There we go. So that got rid of that white halo going right along the edge of the photo. Let's take a look at the fit view. Okay, good. My mask is now complete. Let's take a look at the before and the after with that mask. What I'll probably want to do though is give this photo just a little bit more breathing room on the top in regards to the clouds. So I'm going to go up to Edit and Adjust Canvas Size. And I'm going to unlock the proportions, and let's raise this up to 3300 pixels high and hit OK. There we go. That adjusted my canvas size, made this more of a panoramic vertical, and I did that so that I can lower the Zion photo down and show more sky in this photo. So with that Zion layer being selected, I'll go into my transform tool, and then I will just scroll this down just a little bit and use the arrow keys to get it in to fit properly, and then hit apply. And it looks like I can actually just move that over just another. There we are. Alright, perfect. Now to finish this up, I'll select my cloud layer, and with the transform tool, I'll move this around and reposition these clouds to just about there, hit apply. Then let's take this cloud layer into enhance. And one of my favorite sliders for clouds is the detail slider. Increasing the detail slider can bring out a lot of detail in the clouds that sometimes gets hidden. And increase the blacks a little bit and the contrast, and come back here, not that much. Saturation looks good. I'm going to hit apply on that. So I've just made some tonal corrections on the sky, and now I'm going to grab the layer that has the mountain here in it, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring that into enhance. And let's see here. Let's see what the auto enhance does. Auto adjustments are making it a little bit too bright, so I'm going to ignore the auto adjustments and just do this manually here. I'll increase a little bit of contrast, a little bit of brightness. Definitely want to bring in some detail here on the rocks. Maybe increase the blacks just a little bit, and I'll increase the vibrance a little. Let's take a look at a before and after on that. There we go. What my goal was to match my foreground with my background there, and I believe I got that looking pretty good. So I'll hit apply. And we're done now. So we have a photo that was taken on a overcast day with little peaks of sun shining through, because you can see a little bit of sunlight over here. And I replaced it with a cloud background that could be typical of that type of lighting conditions where you have some clouds filtering the sunlight. Hit save. And we'll do one more photo here. Okay, close this out and go back to browse. And let's select this photo here. And we'll go into layers, edit a copy. Okay, so this photo here, we got to get rid of this blue sky up in here, but then we also have a reflection that we're going to have to duplicate the clouds into. Let's first find a cloud that we're going to want to use. So I'm now going into my cloud set 2, and let's take a look for, let's see. I think we could do something with this cloud pattern here. So let's double click on that and add it as a layer. Okay, for this one here, I'm going to size this photo down. If we take a look at my transform tool, we can see that my cloud layer is a lot larger than my than the other layer, the Zion foreground. So with the transform tool, I'm going to click the fill canvas button, and that's going to shrink the photo down to fit my layer below it. And then I'll hit apply. And let's drag my foreground layer up on top and zoom in to fit here. Okay, so now let's start doing the masking, and we will use the quick mask tool and go in through the sky up here. Again, just paint in very loosely so I can select a lot of the color tones that we're trying to remove. Okay, good. Let's take a look at the refine brush again, And we'll paint in this section on the tree. There we go. And you know what? Let me undo that. I want to make sure my color decontamination is on. What the color decontamination is going to do is going to try and help remove some of the blue or any other colors that might have been reflecting from the background onto your foreground. It's really helpful, especially if you're using a green screen and photographing people in front of a green screen. The color decontamination can remove a lot of that green cast that you'll see on your subject. And I'll bring this along my horizon line in the background. And a couple more spots we got to clean up. Oh, get back there. There we go. And up on top here, we'll get this section first. And this section here. And up in the corner here, we'll see if the refine brush will remove that. Oh, great. Excellent. Did a good job. Hit it one more time. Still got just a little bit of a blue line along there, so we'll use the Chisel Tool. And come right along here. There we go. Gets rid of that line going right along the edge of the mountain. And we're going to have that down in here too, so I'm going to run that right along the edge here. Down into the corner down here. And up along here. And it looked like I might have had a little bit of blue in here, or I might have lost the mountain. Let's take a look at my mask, and we'll paint back in this one little section up in here. Saw a little bit of sky filtering through in there. There we go. Actually, is that okay? That actually this part was what I was looking at, but that looks like it was actually in my photo to begin with. Okay. All right, so last thing I would do now is once I got the mask all set, I would then go through and click on the clouds. And let's reposition the clouds. It's actually in a pretty good position here, but I'm going to increase it, move it up just a little bit more. And hit apply. Okay, good. So now we have our sky replaced. But right now this still doesn't look like a plausible composite here because we have a water reflection in the foreground. So we're going to need to mirror these clouds in the water reflection to really pull off this, this photo and make it look accurate. So what I'm going to do is with my cloud layer selected, I'm going to duplicate this layer by clicking on the duplicate layer icon right below. That makes a copy of my layer. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. I'm going to go to my transform tool, and then this button up top here is going to flip my photo vertically. So I have that flipped vertically. I'm going to hit apply for right now, and I got to move this cloud layer now up on top because now I have to figure out the exact placement of it. When it's up on top here, I can lower my layer opacity so I can see through my bottom photo. And what I need to do is when I'm trying to pull off this reflection, I'm looking up here. In my reflection, I can see this mountain range up on top here. And what I need to do is visually get an idea on where these clouds start to come up above it. So I can see that I have some blue sky just a little bit above this ridge here. So now I'm going to need to find that in the inverted state and bring that down below here. Okay, here it is right there. And so you need to, can take a little bit of going back and forth with your layer opacity and visually just making sure that everything lines up. Now I'm looking in my shadows here so I can see where the orange goes into the white and trying to memorize what that cloud pattern is right here. And then over here where you go from white to orange, looking up above it, you have that little wisp of clouds up there. So let's see how close I am. Looks like I'm really good here. This can probably come down just a little bit. And I see this indent point should probably come in back here, because I'm looking at that point right here to right here. There we go, looking above this range, this little mountain range here. That looks the same, coming all the way up. Okay, good. I'm happy with my placement of those clouds. All right, now what I want to do here first, I still have my layer opacity at 45. I'm just going to do a quick hit with the masking brush. And what I want to do is erase some of the background here. So I'm going to switch it to paint out and erase a good section of this right here that I don't need to see, because the reflection is only going to be evident in the water, so we can delete a good portion of this mask here. And I'm not being too careful about getting too exact until we get to the edge here. There we go. Now to pull off the water reflection, you're going to want to change your blending mode. Now let me increase my opacity to 100 on that layer. And from blending mode of normal, you want to switch that down to soft light. Now look at what that did. That gave it a real nice soft light to that blending mode, fades it into the water, and I'm going to lower my layer opacity down as well. Okay, and I'm going to zoom into this section down below. And now using my masking brush again, I'm just going to paint out, coming right along the edges here. And get it in here. We're not going to have any cloud reflection in this water down here, because this is being reflected from this rock right above there. And you know what? I think there we go. I saw a mistake that had gone through here. So redo that and come back in through here. There we go. And let's zoom out. Let's turn this layer on and off to see the difference. You can see I had a little bit of masking down here to get rid of. A lot of times I don't need to be super exact when I'm doing these reflections. Anything visual you can go by. You don't have to get super anal with your masking for these water reflections, because you're already blending it in a soft light mode, so it takes away a lot of the detail and luminosity in it. And let's do it before and after again. Okay, good. And I'm just going to adjust that layer opacity. You don't want to have it at 100, but it's really a personal preference as to where you want it in the to match and give a plausible look to your photo. Okay, that looks good there. Now what I'd probably do is go into my cloud layer on the bottom. Let's keep that on the bottom. And go into Enhance. And I'll increase the contrast a little bit. And increase my blacks and increase the detail. There we go. And probably brighten the sky up a little. Come on. Okay, good. We'll hit apply on that. And I'll just have to make a couple quick tonal adjustments to my base layer here with the rocks. So let's bring that into Enhance. And I'll increase the contrast on this, brighten it up a little bit, and increase the detail. There we go. And let's see, maybe just a little bit of vibrance. Okay, and I'll hit apply, and that will do it. Okay, well, that does the demonstration here for the sky removal in Perfect Photo Suite 9. I selected 3 different photos that gave you a range of the types of cutouts that you're going to have to do. Some are easy, and you can, within a couple brush strokes, you can get that mask out. Some of the other masks are going to take a little bit more time And when you're working on a difficult mask, I like to use the masking brush with the perfect brush enabled and do selective coloring to try and remove the background. That in conjunction with the refine brush and finishing things off with the chisel tool. I rarely ever use the blur tool to enhance any of the masks unless I'm working with a cutout of hair and want to soften up that transition. But usually with mountain ranges and things like that, you want to have that nice sharp chiseled edge to the photo. All right, that does it for this episode of Perfect Inspiration with On One. Once again, I'm Matt Suess, and I thank you very much, and good luck with your photo cutouts. Take care. Bye.